So, our Scotland trip had been planned for quite a while. First, it was going to be my brother's classic Mini and my Metro, and then my 5 Series and his Jag, and then my SV and his 750. But finally, we made it on his Tiger 1050 and my 800 Intruder. Now, the NC 500 is approximately 500 miles of epic roads, epic scenery, and about 450 miles to get there. Now, day one, we got the bikes out, checked tyre pressures, loaded them up, and then the first pit stop was the meeting point, which was at the calf. Can't start a trip without going to the calf. Now, we wanted to avoid motorway as much as possible, so we took the A roads up to Chester and then disappeared off the motorway for a detour through the Lake District. Started to rain again, unfortunately, and the storm was brewing in a little bit, so we decided to jump back on the motorway and pick up speed a little bit up to Moffat, which is where we called it a day. Around about 250 miles done on day one. So we started day two in a little village called Moffat, which is around about 32 miles north of the Scottish border if you're coming up the M6 direction. Now, our next stop was Lairg, which is a village central in the Highlands. Naturally, however, we didn't want to go the direct quickest route. We wanted to go on a little bit of a detour. Now, we stopped at the petrol station just outside Glasgow, where we filled the bikes up before we hit going up past Loch Lomond and up eventually towards Loch Ness. Obviously enjoying the scenery as much as we possibly could, which was all the time whilst we was on the way. So we left Loch Lomond and went up through Glencoe, which is a route I've done many, many times for work, and headed up towards Loch Ness. And then after leaving Loch Ness, we went through Inverness and over the bridge into the Highlands. And after a short trip, we made it into Lairg, which was going to be our home for the next 4 nights. Now, in Lairg, there's a little place called the Wee Hoose, and there's the bikes outside the Airbnb that we rented. So it was at 8:30 at night. We was hungry, we was thirsty, kind of forgot that everything would be shut inside Lairg. So 30-mile trip to Tesco it was. And that's day 2 done, around about 600 miles with our detours. Now, day 3, we're focused on the southwest part of the Highlands, heading towards Ullapool, over the Applecross Pass, and then back through Dingwall. So, quick fuel stop at the start of the Applecross Pass before attempting what is advertised as the most terrifying and dangerous road. It is weight limited, and they do say that anything bigger than a transport is too big to take this road. I'll do it again. Now, after that, we headed back towards Dingwall, which I didn't do a great deal of filming on, and then stopped at a curry house in Dingwall before heading back up to Legg for the night. So that's day 3 complete, approximately 870 miles so far, and then we can ready to start day 4, which is where we tackle the northwest side. It's about a 220-mile journey of what we got planned today. But first, just got a few more photos of the wee house and actually Legg itself. It's an absolutely stunning place. Right, back to the bikes now. And it's time to get off the bikes and actually do a bit of exploring. So we explored a bit of Clashnessy, beach and falls. A bit of a walk up to the falls, so not recommended for people who struggle to walk, to be fair. I think it's about an half a mile walk, but once you get there, the views were absolutely stunning. And time to carry on riding again for a bit. Now, we wanted a bit of food, and we saw this place was advertised as a meal with a view. So up the windy track we go, and yeah, I'll let the pictures speak for themselves. Definitely was a meal with a view. And time to carry on round the route that we'd planned, and that's around about it for today. Now, on day 5, we tackled the northeast part of the Highlands. It was our final day before we made the journey back south. So, we started with a little ride up to the Falls of Shin, which is about 10 mile or so, no, 10 minutes, sorry, north of Legg. And then it was time to get back on the road and head on somewhere else. Now, one thing you can't do when you visit Scotland is not go to a distillery, so that was on the list of things to do. So, a few purchases later to take back home with, and time to tackle the biggest issue that we had. Now, my brother and his mate both had massively squared off dodgy rear tyres, so set about trying to find some replacements. Place in Inverness was quoting silly money, same as Glasgow, and then we managed to find this little place in Wick. So massive shout out to them. Now off to our main destination for the day, which, as anybody might have guessed, was John O'Groats. And we headed back to Leg to call it a day. Now, day 6 and 7, which was the return journey, wasn't filmed. On the first day, we had a decent leg of 330-ish miles to head back to Cockermouth. And then on Friday, I set back off on my own. Popped into Superbike Factory in Macclesfield to look at a Tiger 1050, which wasn't very good. When I was outside, a guy who had a Sprint, which is the one photoed, um, gave me a bit of information with regards to a sprint, went back inside, had a look at one, and as you might have already guessed, I now own one. Now, Scotland was an absolutely phenomenal trip. Um, Definitely on the list to do again. Focusing maybe more on the west side, but yeah, very enjoyable week. And a lot done over the 7 days, and I think circa of around about 1850 miles.